My name is Andrew. We may have met before. Welcome to those of you that I haven't met before. And I'm going to be leading the this webinar, but also the fundraising package that we're offering from the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project. So this is where I hope some of you, if not most of you, if not all of you, are from. This is the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa team. I believe we have some people joining us from the Adam Smith International Group project here in Nigeria today. And we have some potentially, some people from African Makerspace Network joining as well. But this is really being delivered for the makerspaces that's a part of the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project team. But I just wanted to set the scene by saying that this is one of a series of interventions that Distributed Manufacturing and the Innovative Manufacturing in Africa project with the Internet of Production are offering to makerspaces in Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, and Nigeria. Some of you will have already been involved in the business models capacity building sessions led by Anna Lowe with support from Gertrude Go. Some of you may have been involved in some market dialogues training, and we're supporting you through some market dialogue processes. This module is on accessing funding. Chiara has been leading workshops on gender equality and social inclusion, which, amongst everything else, is not only important in and of itself, but is an area for fundraising work, potentially in the future, because it's an area that needs a lot of investment. And then we also have Enrico. Enrico is helping a number of makerspaces improve the quality of their 3D printing and additive manufacturing. And Enrico is the only trainer that's doing face-to-face training. So the purpose of all of these together is that they will form a package of support that will hopefully reinforce each other. So if you have a business model that includes grant fundraising, you're in the right place today. If you have a business model which depends on you selling 3D printed items that you make, or there's an opportunity for you to make some revenue that way, then the additive manufacturing support from Enrico is there to help you. If you're looking for sort of broader financial sustainability support, it's all of these together that we identified earlier in the year and last year as, all of these things coming together should help makerspaces with some of the challenges that they're facing on financial sustainability. So that's how it all fits together. And the purpose of this particular capacity building module on fundraising, accessing finance, is essentially about bringing money into makerspaces. It's as simple as that. The first couple of sessions are going to be more on grants, the second couple of sessions more on tendering, but it's really about how do you get money for your makerspace, and recognizing the fact that many makerspace managers are in themselves makers and not necessarily experienced fundraisers. Maybe they've never run an organization before, maybe they've never worked with a board before, maybe they've never written a tender before. But part of running a makerspace and sustaining a makerspace is fundraising. So what we're trying to do here is share some of particularly what I've learned over the last 20 years of doing fundraising, and to try and make that relevant and share it with you. So we're here to help you with fundraising and to become better fundraisers. There is no such thing as a perfect fundraiser. I've been doing it for 20 years and I still really, really struggle. I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you, as will the other trainers on this capacity building package. And we're really going to be focusing more on quality of fundraising bids, because that's really what leads to a higher success rate. This is about bringing more money into your makerspaces, and I hope I've got something useful to share. The package that we're offering on accessing funding is actually made up of 4 things. These webinars, there are 5 2-hour webinars, are just part of it. One of the main things that we're doing that we're offering makerspaces in our project is direct assistance. That's the number one thing. We have fundraisers who can help you write funding bids. We're doing 5 webinars. The first 2 are on grants. Today's is on project design. The next one is on fundraising, so tips and tricks on how to write a good funding bid. Then Felix from Flat Rock Studio in Cape Town, who helped a little bit on this topic last year, he's going to be leading the 3rd and some of the 4th webinars, potentially some of the 4th webinar, which is basically about contracts and tendering. So not grants, but something that's more like going through a procurement process than winning an award or winning a grant. So that's what the next 2 sessions are. And then we had a suggestion coming from the business models capacity building module, and some of the requests that we've heard from makerspaces for something about how you design your organization, how you should design your makerspace to be structured for success in fundraising. So this is going to cover things like reviewing contracts, checking contracts, keeping track of your commitments in contracts, donor reporting, how you invest in fundraising and create time for fundraising. Because actually, you know, a lot of the time it's finding the time to do fundraising. A lot of makerspace managers struggle with. We're going to be talking a bit about that in that session, and we might ask for some input from makerspaces on that, and particularly Kamasi Hive, who have been working on lots of grants and projects for a number of years, might talk about how the way that they have structured their makerspace to cope with that. So thank you in advance to Felix from Flat Rock Studio and the team at Kamasi Hive for helping out with this package. The third thing we're going to do in this package, and you'll get them shared each week after these webinars, but they'll also be written up elsewhere, is we're going to be sharing some templates of documents that you might need to help you to fundraise. And that this will be something that we share after the sessions. These are going to be openly licensed, and it's, you know, based on my own experience in particular and some of Felix's experience, and we'll share those so that you can use them in the future. But then the 4th thing is money. So we're supporting makerspaces for each of these capacity building modules with $2,000, and you can spend it how you like. Okay, so that's the overview of the package. Today we're on the first webinar, first of the 5 weekly webinars on project design. Now, why me? Why is it me that's presenting to you today? The reason I do what I do now is because in my second year at university, I volunteered for an organization, a student society, a student club at my university that was called Engineers Without Borders. And I was too scared in many ways. I didn't have the confidence to do the engineering side of things. And, I was a bit socially awkward and all of this. So what I decided to volunteer and help with was fundraising. And it was the best decision of my life because basically the way you progress your career in a lot of organizations is to be one of the people that brings money in. And basically, because I got experience in fundraising, my first job after university was as a fundraiser, a grant fundraiser. I then became a chief exec of a charity because I could do fundraising, because that's the main job of a chief exec, is to bring the money in. And then ever since then, I've had those sorts of roles, and with been doing bigger and bigger amounts and bigger projects. I still love the very small projects. You've got to handle them carefully, but it's basically I spent the last 20 years as a fundraiser, and I'm a systems engineer, I'm an information engineer, but the way I put some of my ideas into practice is through writing them into funding bids. I have a lot of experience with corporate sponsorship in the UK. It's different in the US and in Australia, and different again in each country in Africa. So corporate sponsorship is something I can help with, but I have to tell you, it's not an area of fundraising I particularly enjoy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not going to focus on that in this capacity building package. There may be things that you could do in your country that just make sense. And in the end, corporate sponsorship often ends up looking a little bit like grant funding and trust and foundation funding or contracts, because it's very rare that you receive an unrestricted donation from a corporate. They normally want something in return. So there's often some kind of agreement going on anyway. I've done lots of trust and foundations work. The biggest amount I think I've fundraised for from a trust or a foundation is about $500,000 in one grant. I've done lots of government grants, and the largest government grant I've had was a couple of $1 million. I've done some work with major donors, millionaires, billionaires. I've done some work with public fundraising, like the donation button on a website, or encouraging members of the public to put some coins in a box. And I've done here and there a few contracts, but it is really Felix that knows that world a bit better on contracts, so he's going to be covering that. So that's who I am, that's my background, that's why I'm delivering this package. I could talk for a long time on this stuff. I could really talk for a long time on this stuff. So if at any point in these webinars you don't know what I'm talking about, or I'm making too many assumptions in my head about what's in your head, please just ask. Please just ask, what on earth are you talking about, Andrew? Please just unmute or put your hand up. Rebecca will prompt me and we'll talk about it a bit more. So that's me. This first module, we're going to be talking about project design. We're going to be talking about knowing your own organization, how you find opportunities, how you do a quick budget sketch, coming up with a project title, and then forming a consortium. These are not linear, they cycle and they all weave together. But these, on my experience, are some critical early steps to help with particularly grant fundraising.